That's the problem, is that we want to continue to be Elohim. We never hear about that. So think about what I just said, the palm of the hand, and you put something in it and you're trying to find out what it is, but you got to smash it, you got to crush it, you got to look at it and examine it. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to crush Yah, and we're like a spice, and then determine who he is. Shabbat Shalom. We want to crush him in our hands, and we want to define. See, it's deeper. It's deeper. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Pam. No worries. You guys understand that?
Yes.
That's what our problem is. Our problem is trying to crush the Creator in our hand and examine him, and then we define what he is, and then we define what is good, and we define what is evil. We define how we want to function. We weren't created for that. We weren't created for that. We were created as a species to be on the face of this earth, to be guided and directed by our master of the universe. And that's not just talking about Israel. That was the whole purpose of humanity, because humanity is made in the image and the likeness of Yahweh, in the sense of we talked about between male and female. Male and female is the image of Yah. You can't have one without the other. And then when they come together and they unify, that's when we demonstrate or display the glory and the image of Yah. Man was supposed to be in the garden to work the garden, to serve Yah and to do what he asked him to do. That's what our hands were made for gardening, for sowing, for harvest. Our hands were not meant for anything else. Our hands were made to take hold of things and grasp it and control things, to have dominion and to rule, not by force, by intelligence and by thought and by mind. That way we can demonstrate the character, and we can have this relationship between the heavens and the earth. You and I are the conduit between the heavens and the earth. We're the one who's supposed to bring creation together with its creator. We're that glue. Yah made the earth and the world for us. He made it for us to be a servant to him, for us to be someone that can be entrusted to do and to accomplish that which, whatever task he laid before us. We're not going anywhere. You're not going to heaven. Okay? The earth was made for humanity, and the heavens were made for Yah. We will never, ever, ever go to heaven. You might say, well, Isaiah went to heaven. He saw a vision. He saw a vision of heaven. And he said, I don't supposed to be here. I'm a man of unclean lips. This here on the earth is our domain. And we have failed as a species to accomplish the mission and the task that Yah's put before us, because we wanted to be Elohim. That means like Elohim. We want to examine him and tell him what we think versus what he said. I get in trouble often, very often, a lot, because I tell people, what did Yah say? They don't want to hear what he has to say. They do not want to hear nothing that Yah has to say. They would rather listen to the voice of a stranger, someone who claims that they came in his name, but not at one time, not once, has this so-called person, you know what I'm talking about, ever used the name of Elohim, never declared his name. I come to manifest your name and make your name known. Gospel of John, chapter number 17. I have yet to found anybody, whether it's a scholar, a rabbi, a pastor, a teacher, a Christian, or a Hebristian. A Hebristian is a hybrid, meaning they claim to be Hebrew, but yet they follow the Christian recipe of, death and resurrection and blood and flesh and drink my blood and eat my flesh routine. And that Yah would kill the innocent for the wicked. And he would justify the wicked by killing the innocent. That he would shed the blood of someone who was innocent for the sake of the people who hate the commandments. I have yet to find anybody to show me where he's ever used his name. There's three types of prophets that can come to this world. One, they'll come in Yahweh's name. Two, the second one will come in Yahweh's name. And the third one will come in their own name and never mention Yah's name at all. The first one, he has to prove that Yah sent him, because the things that he said has to come to pass. Okay, they have to be manifested. Then you will know that Yah sent him. Then you'll know. You'll know it then. Yah says, how would you know? You'll know it because what I said came to pass. So Isaiah was a prophet. Yeshayahu, did he prove that Yah sent him? He told Israel that Jerusalem's going to be burned down. Guess what? Jerusalem got burned down. He told them that. Okay. Hundreds of years before it even happened. You understand? This is what I'm saying. The other type of prophet is the one who will come in Yahweh's name and say something and it never comes to pass. Never happens. But he still uses Yah's name. But it never happens. Yah says you don't have nothing to be afraid of that prophet. That prophet shall be put to death because he presumed upon saying I spoke to him. There's people out here right now that are claiming to be prophets, and there's nothing that they said has ever come to pass. The third prophet is the one in Deuteronomy chapter number 13. The first two that I told you are in Deuteronomy chapter number 18. Chapter number 13 mentions another prophet. This prophet is the one who comes without saying Yah's name whatsoever. And his goal, and his ultimate goal is to remove us away from what Yahweh said, the path that Yahweh told us to follow, which are the laws, the statutes, and the commandments that were given by his prophet Moshe, the servant of Elohim, in which Yah spoke to him face to face. Okay, meaning they had a relationship. They were close. You understand? Now we have this dilemma before us. We have to make sure that we're listening to the right people. Okay, last week our story is about someone who came. He did not ask a question, did Elohim say? He made a statement. And he said, Elohim said that you can't eat it from any of these trees lest you die. Challenging Yah's words. As a result of that one coming, okay, he didn't use Yah's name. He said Elohim. Okay, so he came and he said, hey, this is what he said. And the woman, which is a representative of humanity, by the way, Her and her husband were there together. And they, okay, she consulted and counseled her husband. And he got the serpent, not the devil. The devil's nowhere mentioned. Satan is not even mentioned at all. 100% never mentioned at all. But you leave it up to the scholars and to the teachers of the Christian faith and the Christians, they would claim that that was the devil. When Yah said that it was Achi'ka, a very cunning, very subtle, very deceptive of all the beasts in the field. Not the devil, a beast. You understand? This was physical. This is an account in which Yah was telling Moshe, because Moshe wrote this. And and this is not a meta narrative, meaning something that's added. This is a narrative. It's a story about humanity and how did humanity come to be who they are, which leads us directly into Noah and talking about this one man who decided for himself, Hithpael. I told you last week or earlier this week that a Hithpael, okay, is something you probably never heard before. There are 7 different ways that a person can do an action. We're not taught this. They're not going to get in and teach us this, okay? They're not going to teach you this, because if you know this, then you'll understand how thought is processed. There's 7 different ways that a person can do an action, okay? You and I are thinking it's either or. No, there's 7 different ways. And there's 8 different conjugations. There's 8 different ways that a person, once they decide what type of action they're going to do, it's how it's done, man. Let me explain in very simplistic terms, okay? Because if you don't know this, then you don't know how to read. And if you don't know how to read and you're mistranslating, you're going to go in that way of thinking. This is why I tell everyone they should learn the Torah and learn the Hebrew language. The Torah is not written in English. The Torah is written specifically, and no changes, in the Hebrew language. Okay? This language identifies you as a people. This is not, look, we'll read today in chapter number 10 of the book of Bereshith, which is Genesis, that tells you that these people eventually had their own language and their culture, which they eat a certain way, they live a certain way, they dress a certain way, they talk a certain way. It's part of the culture of the people. But when you're regurgitating the language of the people who have taken you captive, the language tells you how to think. It's what gives you the mindset. Yah says that I'm going to give you a pure tongue when I bring you back home. Right now, our tongue is not pure. Right now, we're contaminated, which we have a problem with that as well, because everyone's been telling us how wonderful we are. They've been telling us how faithful we are. They've been telling us how good you and I are. I'm not that one. I'm not going to tell you how wonderful we are. I'm going to tell us how messed up we are. Because if we find out how messed up we are, we can then humble ourselves the right way. You follow me? This language tells us that there's 7 ways to do something. The first way, okay, and I'm going to write it out because I want you to fully understand what I'm saying. So you can get a pen and paper. Get a pen and paper, because this is what we have to understand. My handwriting is not beautiful, but I don't care. Number 1 is a very simple way. Very simple. That's number 1. You could do it in a very simple way. Here's an example. Say you want to eat something. There's 2 ways that you can do it. I mean, excuse me, there's several ways you can do it, okay? But a simple way would be, he ate the bread. Okay. That's number one. Just a very simple way. Okay. Got that? That's the first example. Okay. The second way that it could be done, okay, is in a very forceful way with intensity. That's the second way something can be done. Okay. And with intensity. So if we're going to say that we ate something, or excuse me, to eat something, he can eat it, right? Or he can devour. That's very intense. It's different than just, hey, let me take a bite of that versus see? So it's how we do things. And this is part of being human. If you understand this, you'll be able to understand how the Holy One of Israel is telling us what to do. There's certain times when Yah tells us to do things in a very simple way, and there's other times where he tells us, I need you to do it with absolute intensity. Okay? I'm not going to get into the names of these because that's part of my grammar class. I'm just explaining the way that the actions are done. By the way that I teach is with intensity, because this is the way the Yah gave the commandments. This is the way that Yah told Moshe to teach the children of Israel, with a very forceful action. This is the same way and method and action that Yah says you're supposed to teach your children, with intensity. You're not supposed to teach your children or the Torah in a very simplistic, simple way. Meaning, oh, well, just make sure you eat the right things. Make sure you sit down. Make sure you keep the Shabbat. No, it's with intensity, because Yah understands something about his people. He understands something about us that you and I don't know, but I'm going to tell you today. You got to teach with intensity when it comes to the Torah. There ain't no playing no games here, because what you're talking about is life. There ain't no time for no games. Why are you upset? I'm not upset. I'm telling you what it is. Because with today, we're going to find out what Noah went through and what the whole world was destroyed. So I shouldn't be talking with intensity. I should be going like the rest of the pastors, teachers, and rabbis and giving you a very simplistic, simple, passive way, so you can feel comfortable, so you don't have any fear whatsoever. That's not the way I'm teaching. I'm going to teach you the way that Yah says to do it. That's the way it's going to be taught. Number 3. This is the next way. He says that you could be causative. I forgot how to spell it. You could cause someone to do something. Okay. Causative. You could cause someone to do something, or they can cause you to do something. Let's use our example, to eat. So if I was to cause you to eat something, I will be the one who I fed you. I fed someone. I fed him, or I fed her, or I fed you, or I fed someone. I'm the one causing you to eat something. Okay. Causative. So there's certain things that can happen that you can cause, okay, to happen. Lets us know, like the way that we operate in life, that either you could do things in a very simple way, you could do things with intensity and forceful, and you could do things in a very causative way. You're the one causing something to happen to someone or something, okay? The fourth way. This one is called a reflexive way, meaning that I'm going to make it happen on me. So if I'm going to do an action on myself, it's reflexive, meaning back and forth. Meaning if it was a reflexive action, I could say, I fed myself. You see? So it's reflexive. It's something that I can do. It's something I choose to do, okay? In the manner that I do it. Now, I told you there were 7. So let me move this out the way right quick. Well, where's the 7 at? Where's that at? I'm going to introduce you to the idea called active and passive. Here we go. When you do something in a simple way, you can do it actively or you can happen on you passively, meaning you can do the action, I can do the action, or the action can happen on me. Someone can do it to me. Okay? I broke the glass. I broke it simply. Well, who broke it? I did. So who broke it? I did. I actively broke the glass. I did it in a very simple way. But then you could turn around and say the glass was broken. Was broken. Well, who broke it? I either broke it or someone else did. Glass. Now the glass is what's the past of what's happening on this. I broke it or it got broken. Or I got broke, depending on what's going on, how it's used in the text. Second way, active, forcefully. I devoured the food. Or I ate, I devoured. What's the next one? Passive. I was devoured. What happened? Where'd that go? Do you guys have any questions so far? Causative. I caused it to happen to someone or someone else. Okay. Something or someone. I caused something to happen to them. I fed them or I was fed by them. Passive. Actively, I'm doing it or the action is happening upon me. And last one is both active and passive. So each one of these, the simple, and I'm going to clean it up, the screen up. The simple action can be done an active way, or it could be done in a passive way. So this is 2 ways that it could be done. The forceful. Got someone trying to come in right quick. The forceful way or the intense way can be done actively or it could be done passively. Okay. So what do we got there? We got 2 ways. Third, causative. It could be done actively or it could be done passive. That's 2 ways. And last but least, this is called the reflexive, which means that this one here is both active and passive on itself. So it's only one way. So we got the 2, 4, 6, and 7. 7 different ways. We haven't even begun to talk about how it could be, a command. It could be a wish or a desire. It could be an absolute infinitive absolute. It could be a participle. It could be any different types of ways. It could be an infinitive construct. These are all the different ways that things can be done. Okay. How the verb actually will function. Okay. How's it functioning? How's the verb functioning? Right. So those are the things that we need to know. I mention all this because there's something about Noah that's different. Noah walked with Yah. That's what it said, because he was righteous. And when he walked with him, it was a reflexive action in terms of the text. It's called the Hithpael. Okay. And the Hithpael is a reflexive, meaning he actively and passively, he's the one who did the action and on himself. He caused himself to do this. Why is it mentioned in this context? Because you and I, in order for us to be righteous, okay, which we found out what righteousness is to do Yah's law, statutes, and commandments, to walk with Yah and to be wholehearted with Yah, is something that you and I have to do ourselves. You have to do it yourself. And we found out, again, and I'll quickly show it to you because some of us didn't see it. I'll hit it right quick. That the word, can you see my screen? It says Zod. Can you see it? Yes?
See a blank screen.
Oh, you see a blank? Okay, let me get out of here and come back and share. Do you see it now?
Yeah, we see it now.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, a quick refresher right here. We are finding out that in order for us to be, this is a word, a root word for righteousness, okay? To be right, okay? Righteousness, okay? To be the righteous. In order to be righteous, you have to have this attitude, okay? This is what you call quickly a mindset. If you don't have this mindset, you're not, it's called the Hithpael. You got to cause yourself to have this type of mindset. If you don't have this type of mindset, you're done. If you don't make yourself desire, chase, pursue, hunt, and ready to ambush, then you're never going to be righteous. Righteousness is found in only the things that you desire to do. I told the class on Thursday that one of the key ingredients to this is to have desire. If you have desire, and that's part of your mindset, then Yah will consider you righteous. It's something that you have to cause, because that's what Noah did. That's what this teaching is about, is what he did. It said that Noah, he found grace. He found compassion. He found mercy with Yah because he was righteous. He was the most righteous in all his generation. He was wholehearted towards Yah. So in context, when we talk about righteousness and we're talking about wholeheartedness, this means his mind. He had a mindset. He was willing to do whatever he needed to do. So if you have willingness, that means that you have a desire. But you got to have this. If you don't have this, you're not going to make it. You're going to be destroyed. That's what it's about. This is not the Christian mindset where it tells you that someone died, some innocent person died for you, so you could continue to live the way that you want to live. If you do not do this one thing of having a desire, then you're gone. That's just what it is. Yah finds anything in us that says we don't want to do what he says, he's going to kill you. That's what he's going to do, because look, if we don't do what he says, he tells us in Genesis chapter number 3 and chapter number 2 as well. If you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're going to die. That's what it is. It's not, Da'wid is not making this up. If you and I do not do what he says, we're not going to make it. There's no reason for you to be here if we don't do what he says. I know it's a hard saying, but it's the truth. It's the truth. I'm going to start right here in Genesis chapter number 8. And I'm going to bless the Torah before I do that. I said, Baruch et Yahweh de Hamvarak, the Berakut et Yahweh de Hamvarak de la Alam Wayed. The Baruch Yahweh, Elohenu de Melech HaAlam, the Adishere de Bekal de Banu, the Mekol, HaMamayim, the Winathan Lanu, the Eta Torato, the Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Nothena HaTorah. The Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Elohenu de Melech HaAlam, the Adishere Nathan, the Lanu, the Torah, the Yomete de Wakaye. the olam, the nata, the botokino, the barokata yawa, the noten, the hatorah, which is to say, blessed are you, Yahweh. Blessed are you, you're the blessed one. Blessed are you, Yahweh. You are the blessed one for all eternity. Blessed are you, Yahweh. You are our Elohim. You are the King of the universe who selected us from all the peoples and gave us your Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the giver of the Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh. You are our Elohim, the King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth and implanted eternal life within us. Blessed are you, Yahweh, for giving us the Torah. Hallelujah, Yahweh. Always bless the Torah before you read it. It's important because this is the gift that the Holy One of Israel has given to the children of Israel and all those who've joined themselves with Israel. As you notice, I don't want to begin to read a verse without bringing full context, because that's where you make your mistakes at. Okay. So for example, the part that I wanted to focus on is in verse number 20. That's where I wanted to read from, right? So, but there's something here that tells me that I can't start in 20. And the reason why I can't start in 20 is because there's a letter here. Somebody tell me what this letter is in Hebrew. Those of you know Hebrew, what's that letter? The first letter of that word.
Is that the wa?
That's a wa. And what does wa mean?
That's the peg.
Yes, the tent peg. But what does it?
It puts things together.
Yes, thank you. So it's a conjunction. Okay. So here the word and. Okay. So I don't want to begin a conversation off with and, because that means that something's missing, because this is and is literally like a plus sign. It's like connecting one thing to the next. It's a chain. Okay. It conjuncts things together. You don't want to look at a train and say, well, this is just part of the train. You want to see where the front of the train is, and you want to know what the caboose is, right? So there's different, those couplings that are in between each one of those carts are like conjunctions. They connect everything together. So in order for us to get a full understanding of anything, you have to go and you have to find out where something begins. And so in the Torah scrolls, there is a place that lets you know where you should begin your reading. What people generally do and teachers do, they'll begin in verse number 20 and start reading, and built Noah, right? But and means it's connected to something. So I want to go find out, where does it begin? I don't want to go at the end or the middle. I want to find out where to begin. And so one of the things that you have to look for in this, which they call the Bible Hub, I'm in BibleHub.com. It's a tool, it's a mark here that they have as a punctuation, which is not true. It's not a punctuation. They put this here for English readers, okay? So they can think, oh, it's a punctuation. This is not a punctuation. This right here is called a stuma, S-T-U-M-A-H, I think, okay? And a stuma or stumak means that it is open, okay? It's an opening. It's not a closing. So that means, however, it's really called a pause. So the teaching hasn't stopped. It just paused, and this is just one aspect. So from here all the way up until the next little S, see, you hear this little mark here? It means that that's an aspect of the teaching. So I need to pause on what I just read, and now I'm going to read something different. And so now it says, and wide ober. And means, of course, that goes along with what he just did. But the aspect of the teaching is another aspect. So it's not the end of the teaching, it's still a continuation. So the teaching continues. That's why it says and spoke. So the part of the teaching that I want to talk about is not about how the earth got dried up with the water and so forth and how many days it took. I want to talk about what Yah said. And it says, Widober Elohim El Yates. Who did he say? He's talked to who? Who did he say something to? Yah spoke to somebody. And let's see who he talked to. Verse number 15 is the beginning of our teaching, or the aspect. He said, and Widober Elohim El, let me break this down. El Noach. He spoke to Noach saying, go out of the ark, you, your wife, and your sons' wives. I'm reading from right to left. The wives of your sons with you. Verse number 17. Every living thing that is with you, all flesh and birds and livestock, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, bring out with you, so that they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Okay. Now, this, of course, is an aspect of the teaching that says that, number one, all the water has dried up on the earth. So that's in context. That was prior to verse number 15. So now he's telling them, now that everything's dried up, now I want you to do something. Okay, now I want you to come out of this ark. You and everybody that's in there with you, I want you to come out now. When you come out of this place that I've had you protected for over a year, okay, I want you to come out and I want you to do something. Okay, I want you to be fruitful and I want you to multiply on the earth. Okay, that's a command. That's a command. Okay, that's what I want you to do on the earth. That's not a suggestion, it's not a recommendation. So what we see here is that the Creator has now told them that these are the primary reasons for you even being here, is to be fruitful and multiply. That's the job of humanity. As a species, our job is to be fruitful and multiply, like everything else, like the plant, species of plants, animals, everything. Everything that Yah has made, I want you to fruitful and multiply. How about the fish? Are they multiplying? Yes. Is everything multiplying? Is the grains in the land multiplying? Yes. So this is a huge thing, being fruitful and multiplying. This is the same command that he gave when he created humanity and when he created all plants and animals. Be fruitful and multiply. Okay, so one thing that I want to focus on in your Hebrew word of the day will be called, they have it here as wa ravu, meaning to multiply. Okay, I'm going to show you what it means in English, and then I'm going to show you what it means in Hebrew. Okay, so here is the word right here, multiply. I'm going to click it, 7235. Okay, the root of the word is called rabba, but they pronounce it rava, rabba. Okay, sounds very familiar. It sounds like rabba, R-A-B-B-A-H, rabba, or the same word they use for rabbi, same word they use for rav, okay, or ravi. These B's are really pronounced as a V sound because they're in the middle of the word. That's why you have ra, they got ba, but it's really va because there's no dot in this bet. All right. So it says to become, to be, or to become much and many and great. So it makes sense. You know, rabba means to multiply, right? So it seems very simple. Well, and it means to grow. It means to increase. You know, like if you told Yah, you say Torah, and then you say Rabbah. It means what? What does Torah Rabbah mean?
Many thanks.
Many thanks, because the Torah means thanks, Thanksgiving, not the one that's coming up next month for the people. And Rabbah means many. So when you say Torah Rabbah, you are saying many thanks, or giving him many thanks. Okay. So what do we have to give? Yah says, if you want to give me something, give me that. Give me Torah Rabbah. Okay. Because a lot of people say, well, what should I give Yah? Give him Torah and give it to him a lot. What can you give Yah Torah Rabbah for? Since you don't have any offerings. What are you going to give him thanks for?
We were talking about that a couple of lessons ago about thanking him about the command. I mean the things that he set in place, like the sun, the commandments that he gave us, the Torah, just the things that he tells us that we what we can and can't do. Thank him for those types of blessings.
Yeah, because those are the things that you should give him thanks for, because without the sun, there would be no food. Without the moon, there would be no changing of, you know, the guard, for lack of better terms. You know, it has gravitational pull. It all works together. We can thank him for the stars because of the beauty of them, but also too, they're part of the constellations. They let people know where to travel. We can thank him for the land, even though this is not, you know, our land. We can still thank him for the land because it's called the Adamah, in which you and I come from. Okay. We can thank him for the Adamah. We can thank him for the fruit that comes off of a tree because he made it. We can thank him for the wheat that you have in your cereal, your oatmeal, or your raisin bran. You can thank him for your children because they're the seed of your body. You can thank him for the ruach, which is your breath that's in your mouth that you can breathe. You can thank him for your lav, not love, lav. And the lav is your heart in Hebrew, but also reflects in your mind, because that's where everything comes from, your thoughts, your emotions. You can thank him for your fears because he can give you comfort and help you not to be afraid in certain things. You can thank him. See, a lot of times we don't want to thank him for, we want to thank him for that which we think is just good, but sometimes we need to thank Yah for that which is not good. And what I'm talking about is this. I mean, I'll use myself as an example. I have a neurological problems and I have pain every day, electrical problems in my body. And I have to realize and recognize that, guess what? It may not go away. Is that going to stop me from living because I have pain? No. Sometimes you got to live with pain. Sometimes you have to live with frustration. Sometimes you have to live with what? Disappointment. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things and a lot of people in my life that's been quite disappointing to me. And I have to learn how to live with it. But I also got to learn how to be thankful for it. Because everything that I have a problem with has not been a problem, it's been a challenge for me. It's been a learning opportunity. It's been a teaching opportunity, because Yah will use what you're going through to teach you. You think he said to Adam and Kua that I'm going to put you out of the garden and put you out into the world outside of the garden, and I'm going to make things difficult for you for no reason? Difficulty brings about change, and because you have to start thinking. That's why he sent us into exile, just like he threw them out of the Garden of Eden. He put us exile out of the land, so you and I can experience difficulty. I mean, my handwriting is messed up. Difficulty, okay? Things are difficult. Right now is a very difficult time. Very difficult. Okay? Financially, it's difficult for some of us. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. Some of us have difficulty thinking because of all the stresses of life. All of us are different, but yet we're not that different because all of us have difficulties. Okay, it's not just one, it's a lot. This COVID, the mandates, the travel, the work situation, what they're asking you to do, the job itself, the exposure to different people, the attitudes, things that are going on at home, things that are going on in your family, things that are going on with your parents, difficulties. It's been difficult. Psalms 90 says, learn how to count your days because it's going to be toil and it's going to be sorrow. So why are we playing like this doesn't exist? Why is everybody acting like this doesn't exist in a captivity right now? This is why Yah has caused these things to happen, in order to bring about the necessary changes that we need in order to be better people. There has to be some changes. Okay, so Torah Rabbah is for everything. Write this down, Psalms 50, not 51, 50. Da'wid wrote that one too, and he said, if you want to give Yahweh anything, he'll accept your Torah Rabbah as an offering. This will be your offering, and this will be your sacrifice. Okay, that's your offering. Okay, that's your offering. That's your offering and sacrifice. You want to give Yahweh something, give him Torah Rabbah. Thank him. Thank him also too for the desire that you have to know him. Thank him for revealing his name to us. That's what you can thank him for. So what do you have to use to thank him? Oh, you need to open your eyes and you need to open your ears. You understand? You need to thank him for your hands. If you can use your hands today, if you can walk with your feet, you need to thank him. See, these are the things that we're not told to thank him for, because to us, they're just things. They're just eyeballs. Well, wait till your eye is not working anymore and see how thankful you are about the eyes that you do have. See? So we need to give him many thanks. Okay. There's another aspect of the problems. I don't know if you know this, but Yah said that there was a lot of transgression. This is the why he destroyed the earth and he flooded them out, because there was many transgression and there was also much violence. Transgressions and violence. People were being oppressive to the image of the Holy One of Israel. You really believe he's going to allow this to happen and not take action? You really believe he's going to allow Hamas, because that's how it's spelled, Hamas, violence? You think he's going to allow people to take each other and shake each other up? And to do, because that's what Hamas is. Violence means to put your hands on somebody and to shake them up, throw them on the ground, push them against a wall, threaten them, take stuff from them. That's what was going on. They were also doing violence to the land and violence to the animals. These are some cruel people. All you got to do right now is go to TikTok and you'll see what I'm saying and see whether or not there's violence and there's transgression. You know right now that you're in a place right now, it's oppressive. So if that's the case, and there's many transgressions, and there was Rav. This word Rav and Rabbah was used several times in this Torah portion. And I want to show you what it means Hebraically. So I told you here in English. Now I need to show you Hebraically, what does it mean? Because it's a little different. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share, and then we're going to go back and I'm going to show it to you in the Hebrew. Make sure that anyone can ask me any questions that you choose to do, because that's why I'm here. I'm here as your teacher to instruct you and to answer any questions you have, because you would want to know, and you can make a contribution. You feel like you're in your spirit, you feel like you should say something, you need to say it, because it may not be for you, it might be for someone else. So make sure if you feel that way, you got to say it, okay? Don't be shy. This class is about learning. So, and when I share this screen with you, I want to share this word called the Rav. It's right here. You can see it. It's called the action of it. Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes, we could see that.
Okay, so here we go. Now, this is the same word for Rabbah. This is the same root. Here's a resh and a bet. Okay. A resh is the head of a man. The bet, which is this letter right here, is what they call a picture of a tent representing a family. So when you combine these, when you put these two letters together, Rav, R and a B, you could just throw a little A in the middle for it to be able to sound it, which is Rav. But remember, since it doesn't have a dot in it, it's a V sound. Still a bet, but it's a V sound, so it's really Rav. That's how you say it, Rav. So it's a picture of the family. That's what the tent represents. But when you put these together, it's called the head of the family. That's why they call the rabbi, the rabbi, or rabbi, the head. He's the head leader or the head teacher or leader. He's the one who's supposed to have what? Remember, Rav means much, like Torah, Rabbah, much and many. So what is a rabbi supposed to have? What is he supposed to have? Much and abundance and many. What should he have?
Knowledge, understanding.
Yes, he better know. He better be full of knowledge. He has so much he could give it to other people. He has to know. If he doesn't know, he's not worthy of being called a master, because that's what a master is. A master is a ruler. Okay, that's what a Rav is a master. And the job of a rabbi or a Rav or a master is not only to rule, but he's the one who's supposed to give the increase of knowledge to the people. If a rabbi or a Rav or a master or a person in the house is not doing this, he doesn't deserve to rule. So you men, last week I talked about our occultees, our sisters in Nekeva. Today's your day. Yah says that you are going to rule. You're going to be the master of that house. You understand? Nekeva, don't even, you listen, but don't trip. I'm not on you today. Listen to me, men. Akim, listen to me. Enosh, that means men. You are supposed to be a master, and you're supposed to rule, and you are supposed to be increased in knowledge. If you are going to be the head of any family, you better understand what you need to be doing. Each family has a master that rules all cases, meaning when situations comes up, trials, conflicts, arguments, debates, and contests, there's someone there who's supposed to be the representative for the whole entire tribe or family, who's what? Abundant in authority and wisdom. And you can see this in Exodus 18. They don't even use the word rabbi or rav in Exodus 18. What they're talking about in Exodus 18 is when Yah says, I need all the tribes, the rulers and the leaders to come so I can tell you guys on how to rule. Moshe was sitting there and he couldn't get anything done because he was the only one answering questions. So they had to call a leader from each one of the tribes to make them what? A ruler in their tribe, a head of their tribe. So they can disseminate the information between 1,000, hundreds, and 50s, and then 10s. That's how it works. There's always an order. You understand? So if you want to be a ruler, let me ask you a question. You think you can be a ruler over 1,000s and you don't have no knowledge and increase of nothing? So depends on how much information you have determines how much you can rule over. So if you don't have, you got abundance, you get to go over 1,000s. If you don't, next you go to hundreds, then you got the 50s, and then you got the 10s. You see? And then of course, if you don't have any of these, you're not a ruler. That's your choice. You understand? This is something called a Hithpael. You have to decide to do this. All because Yah says this is what you're going to do doesn't mean that you're going to do it. It means that you have to make a decision to do it. It's called a Hithpael. You better decide if you want to do it. Now, but that's not the only part I wanted to tell you about it. Okay, so they're abundant in authority. That's what a Rav is. Just like there's many, much, in abundance, okay, and great in strength, great in abundance, great in number, okay? Abundance of family members, abundance, that's a Rav. Strength, okay, greatness and authority. You already know that. And then they have an archer, so they use it for different reasons, okay, or different definitions. But there's another one that I want to show you that's part of this root that is very eye-opening to us, to tell us what's going on. That's 254. In page number 254 here, we got abundance, much. I'm on the left-hand side, increase, abundant. So they just go myriad. Oh, look, they got a word right here for Lord. One in abundant authority. That's a Lord. So when they said, oh, you know, when Sarah called her husband Lord, she's saying, hey, you're great in authority. You're the authority here. Okay. So there's another word for there. Okay. And then they also have, let me clear these drawings out. Then they said a great number of abundance. And then they talk about myriads right here, about a myriad, thousands and tens of thousands. When Yahweh showed up with tens of thousands. Yes, go ahead, Galaxy. What's your question?
Now, when you said the wife's called a husband Lord in Hebrew, wasn't it Adonai or was it some other Hebrew word?
Well, yes, it's Adon, right? Which we're going to get into. It's Adon, but I'm just showing out the point that when she did call him a Lord, he's one who's, because a Lord, even an Adon, is one who has to be one who has authority. You just can't be called a Lord without having authority. So these are not just titles that go with just, you know, being a title. You have to prove that this is what you are. So when we look at this word over here, because Adon is a name for it, right? But when you looked at this word right here called ravavon right here, it's one letting you know that the person who is the Lord and the one is the one who's abundant in authority. You can't be a Lord without authority. You understand? So it's telling you the aspect of his authority, okay? Or one's authority, okay? What do we have here? So that was that, and then showers abundance. Oh, here's another word right here that I want to show you. Remember, in our righteousness, that had to do with being an ambush and hunting, right? Remember, hunt and desire. That was part of being righteous and pursuing, right? This has to do with that. Rav is in there. That means to lay in wait, to ambush, right? So you can see how in the Hebrew, they'll give you more definitive answers to what it means to be an authority, because guess what? It's one who's, and why? Why does a person have to be laying down? What would be the increase? What is it? What does the Rav here have to do with it? What does a person do? Like the picture of the kitty cat. They're laying in ambush. What are they doing? They're laying in wait to ambush. So there's something that has to do with the great what? It has to do with the great desire. That's what an ambush is. You have to have something in you to push you, and that's the Rav. That's the greatness of this much desire, much, because that's the only way you can ambush. You got to have something pushing you to make you lay down and wait. You understand? So that's that aspect of it. Here's the final part that I wanted to tell you of this word. And why is it important? Because part of being a master, okay, right? So we got right here, struggle. Okay, Arba, struggle. For what? Your ambush. But where's the struggle come from? From what you got to do. You're going to have a struggle in this walk. You're going to, if you want to be with Yah, you're going to have a struggle. But not also you're going to have a struggle. But here's another thing. There's increase, abundance. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Perfect. All right. There is a word called Yorav. Okay. Right here. All they did is put a yod right in front of the yod, means a hand. And it means to strive. The responsibility of the master, and I need everyone to hear me, especially you, Anosh, you men. The responsibility of a master is to strive for the survival and protection of the house. You hear what I just said? You Akotis too can listen to this. If you have daughters, or you're with your husbands, or you're looking for a husband, understand this. His job is to strive for the survival and protection of the house. Okay? That means that his job is to fight and contend for the survival and the protection of the house. This is why it's not an easy job. It's not. Okay? It's not going to be an easy job. When you have to tell somebody that what they're doing is wrong, or you have to tell someone that this is the direction that we're going to go, and they don't fully understand it, that's when the contention happens. You say, well, why is this important? Well, because in Yah's judgment of the world, it's because he says that my spirit won't always what? My spirit is not going to always strive with man. I'm not going to strive with him. I'm not going to contend with him. I can't. He doesn't want to listen to me. I'm tired of pleading. I'm tired of debating what I said. You guys understand? This is the reason why the world was destroyed, is because Yah says, I can't debate with you no more. I'm not debating with anybody about what I said. That's the job of the responsibility of a master. So when we look at the responsibility of the creator of the heavens and earth, he's telling us that he is the master of the universe. He's the master of the universe, and he's telling you and I that I am not going to continue to debate with mankind. I'm not going to argue, because that's what Riv is, to strive with you. I'll do it until I can't do it no more, until you just, there's nothing else for me to say. So you men, understand, if you're talking about being a master, understand that your job, your primary responsibility is to strive for the survival and the protection of your house. You got to protect your house from evil. You have to protect your house from disobedience. You have to protect your house. Plead with them, and you might have some contention. You will. You're going to have some controversy, and it will be contention, because that's the job of a master. So get used to it. But what kind of master should one be? That's right. Looking what we went over, a master for us is one who has to be increased in knowledge and wisdom. So when you do everything that you can, sit down and try to talk to the people that you're the master over. If they don't want to listen to you, there's nothing you can do about it. Because as you see in our teaching today, Yah says, I can't talk no more. Now it's time for me to destroy. And that's what it is. That's what a Rav is. So you got two aspects. You have the positive aspect of being many and much in abundance and authority, but then you see the flip side. There's always a positive and a negative of something. Okay. Is this to sour our mood today on the Shabbat? No, it's to bring understanding. That's what it's supposed to do. Let's look a little bit deeper though. Here's something for us to understand. What is to strive? Why did Yah destroy the earth? He destroyed it because he was saying, I'm angry and I'm bitter because you won't do what I said. And guess what? It's always over fundamental issues. That's what it is. Fundamentals. Fundamentals are what? Stop being oppressive. Stop hurting my people. Stop lying to each other. Stop taking from each other. Stop shaking each other. Stop hitting each other. So the flood, and it says many waters. Guess what that word many is? Rav. Many waters covered the earth, and guess what they did? They prevailed. So you know what the masters of the universe told us? The master said, I will prevail. And I'm going to use it through water. I'm going to use it through many waters. Because you know why I got to use many waters? Because your transgressions were many. And your violence was much. So when you did Rav, I do Rav. It's measure for measure, because the master has to protect the home. And the home is the earth for him. It's his home. He beautified it. He built it. He filled it. He manages it. He takes care of it. He provides for everybody on it. You see? Men, we have to become more like Yah. And more is again Rav. I need you to increase in your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I need you to fill your house like I did with good things. I need you to provide for the home. Not a whole bunch of dictates, but this is what we need to do, because it's never about you and me. It's about us. When Yah built this world, he wasn't just thinking about him. He was thinking about us. And he went so far to say, let us make man. You took the man out of the substance of the thing in which you and I live by. We live that which comes out of the earth, just like us. Don't you understand? But if you have Rav in your life, you have to choose, because that Rav can either be abundance of that which is good and an increase of knowledge, or it can also be the same word, as we saw, could be a resh, a yod, and a bet, which has to do with an argument and has to do with contention. Do you want to fight? Do you want to contend? What do you want to do? Do you want discord, disagreement? What do we want? Look right here, down here. They give you the Hebrew word, mariva. There it is. You see the resh and the yod and the bet right there. And what was mariva? Mariva, riv, ba. You guys remember it's called contention. And where did they have contention with Yah? That's right, Exodus, chapter number 15, at the waters of Meribah, which means bitterness. The people were mad because the water was bitter. He sweetened the water and said, you better hear me. If you do what I say, you will live well. He turned the water from bitterness to sweetness so they can drink it. He's letting them know you will have a bitter life if you don't do what I say. Because it has to do with the resh and the bet. Riba, contention, disagreement. Your life is going to be bitter. It's going to be nothing but bitterness. Has it not been bitterness for Israel? Has it not? This captivity is not sweet and loving and kind and comfortable. There is no Noach here. There is no comfort and rest. To be at rest is to be able to be brought somewhere where you don't have nobody oppressing you. Da'wid said, Yahweh, Roy, the Lord exalted bin of this shed. Yadaba seni the Olamade in the Koti and the Halani. Nafshi the Yoshavavia Kenny of Magale. The Zedekalaman Shamo, the Gam Ki the Lake of Bagaz Zamna Vetalo. Loyadra the Kiatai Madi Shitika Mishantika. What is he saying? Yahweh, you are my shepherd. I am not going to be diminished. You take me by the green pastures. You leadeth me beside the still waters. You leadeth me down the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley, shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Yahweh. What was he talking about? He's talking about, I arrived in my place of rest. I'm arrived because you led me there. Yenahalani, you led me there by the waters. You led me to a place of rest. That's what this is all about. Noach was being removed from a place of contention. And he had to do it by himself and his family. He had to put in some work. He had to build an ark. It didn't fall out the sky. He had to put in some work. He had to put in some effort. And not only Noach, but all his entire family. That's what this is about. It's not just about the master. What good is it to be a master if you don't have people that are going to do what you say? What good is it to be a master of the universe and you got people on the face of the earth that is defiling the image of you, doing everything contrary that with your image, you gave them the breath and all they turn around is lying, stealing, cheating, homosexuals, having different animals made with each other, all kind of stuff. It goes both ways. Yahweh is the master over humanity, the whole entire family of the earth. And if you and I want to bring contention and we want to bring discord and friction to go against the natural way of things, there will be bitterness. And ultimately, you're going to be destroyed. Noah had 3 sons. And the 3 sons were Shem, Ham, which is really a CH, not Ham, Ham, Shem, okay? And Japheth. Okay? 3 sons. 3. And they had wives. And he told them to Rabu, I need you to multiply. I need you to increase. That's the command. Okay? I'm asking you to be the master. I'm asking for, if there's a master, okay, then he has a family. I'm asking for the families of the earth to follow my command so you can increase, because that's what Rav is about as well. Rav is increase. I need you to increase because that's why I created you for. I need you to multiply, not just from baby standpoint, but I need you to pass on information. The name of Shem is, his name means name. And in Hebrew, your name is your character. This sh here has to do with two. It means there. So Shem can mean name, but also the word Sham, same SH and Mem right here, means there. Okay? Sh. Mayim. 2 heavens. You see? Name is character. Kam means hot, or from the sun, the dark one. Okay? Yapeth, his name means to be simple, spread out. Okay? They all have different names, so your name is your character. Okay? I'm going to show you a chart right quick and let you know where you come from and what Yah's intention is for humanity. Get out of here right quick. Hope you guys are learning something today, because I am. Let's see here. Oh, all right, here we go. Can you see my screen? Yes?
Yes.
Good. All right. So as you can see right here, these are the sons of Noach. And what's so important about these in particular individuals? When there is no J, it's Japheth. Okay. This is Kam, CH. Okay. And also, if you look at the CH there, is people. And the CH right here means a wall, but the wall means outside. So what is Kam? Kam is the outside people. And the people outside are the people of the sun. Because the wall brings division and it separates that which is on the inside from the outside. So the wall means the outside, okay, outside of the tent. The people outside are the people in the sun. That's why they are the dark people, because they're the people of the sun. They're in Africa, land of Canaan, okay? So let's start off with the youngest. The youngest of these sons is Japheth, okay? And the reason why I'm starting off here is because in Genesis chapter number 10, verses 2 through 5, is they begin with Japheth first. They talk about him first. They don't talk about Shem, who's the oldest. Okay. They only talk about him first. So Japheth is responsible for all the Europe and Asian people. His sons are Gomer. Okay. What, Gomer is France, Spain, Germany, and Wales. Okay. Then you got Mogog, which is Bosnia and Ukraine. And you got Madai, which is the Medes in Iran, part of Iran. Then you have the Javan, which are the Greeks. And then you got Tuval, which is Georgia. And Meshech is the Russia, or excuse me, Moscow. And then, let me get this right here. Sorry, I screws down because I think I'm missing something. Yeah, and then the bottom part of Tyrus is the Yugoslavia and the Macedonians, okay? So they're part of that family. They're all the Europeans. Japheth is the European family, okay? And everyone who goes along with them, okay? Amazingly, which I'll show you in the book, is that one of Gomer's sons is called, here, his name is Ashkenaz. The Ashkenazi is what you would call the Jewish people. They're not from the line of Shem. They're from the line of Japheth. And they're going to be found in verse number 3, which I'll show you, because he's one of the sons of Gomer. You mention this to them, they get very, very angry. You show them what the Torah says, because they can't fight against the Torah, that Gomer is Ashkenazi. You ask them, hey, what are you? They say, I'm Yehudim, I'm Jewish. You go, no, you're not. Yes, you are. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. You're from Gomer. Gomer is Germany. Ashkenaz is German. Okay, that's where he's from. Now, the Kam, the people of the sun, the people outside, he had 4 sons. Okay, and here it is. Now, you guys can see how big Asia is. Asia is huge. Okay, huge. Sons are Cush, Mizraim, which is Egypt, and Put, Libya, and Canaan, Palestine. Okay. And then you have the family from them, which is your Jebusites, your Kivites, your Imris, your Kitites, Kiwi, Yevusis, all those. And these are the nations that Yah says, I need you to go in and go kill every last one of them and destroy them. This one right here. Not, I'm going to do that to all Cush and Mizraim and Put, because he told you not to be angry at Mizraim because you were a foreigner and a stranger in this land. So don't mistreat him. And don't mistreat Cush either, because you're like the Cushi to me, he says in the book of Amos. You're like Cushi to me, meaning, not like them in the sense of being the people, but in your presentation and what you look like, okay? So this family of nations in Canaan is from Kam. Canaan, Yah says, I need you to go and you're going to destroy these people. And I'm going to tell you the reason why in a second, okay? Then he tells you about Shem, meaning the name. Okay, which Shem, Noah decides to bless Shem in Yahweh's name. That's what he did. He blessed Shem in Yahweh's name. A lot of people say, well, Yahweh's never mentioned. Yes, he is. Noah used Yahweh's name. He blessed Shem. The situation is that their father was naked and he got drunk. He was a farmer. And he got drunk, and when he got drunk, he got carried away, like you do when you get drunk. So he went all the way out. We had a good time. He had a vineyard. And actually, he's one of the first people to ever have a vineyard, because now the earth is no longer cursed, because Yah has gotten rid of the curse by bringing upon the flood. So there's no curse on the land, by the way. Okay, so there's no more curse. So Noah makes a vineyard and he plants it and he gets drunk. And his younger son, which is Kam, okay, or middle son, not younger, the middle son decides that he wants to do something very, very evil, okay, to his father. And we're going to talk about that in our closing. So Noah blesses Shem, because Shem turns around him. Shem went to go get his brother Japheth, and they went in and covered their father's nakedness. Okay. And therefore, because of this evil that he's done, Noah curses this in particular son of Kam. He curses this child. He cursed this child. Okay. And we're going to get into that and the reasons why. Okay. So Shem has these sons, and his sons are Shemitic. They're Shemitic people. That's why they're called Shemitics, is because they hold Shem as their father. Okay. It's like Canaanites are from Canaanim, from the Canaanites, from these people right here. Mitzrayim, and the Cushites. Okay. All of them's ites. Elamites, the Ashurites, okay, the Ludites, and the Amorites, okay? So out of our family, we have the Iranians, the Assyrians, and we also have the Chaldeans, which is what you would call Mesopotamia, okay? Tamia, you know what I'm saying. Lud, Lydia, and Syria. But out of this family of our Pakshad, you have Eber. His name is Eber right here, E-B-E-R, which you get your word Ivri. And Ivri is called a Hebrew. Okay, Hebrew. That's what Ivri is. So when someone asks you, what are you? You tell them I'm an Ivri. They're one and the same. What they did was they transliterated the I into a H, the B here, the V into a B, because this is really a ayin, a bet, a resh. Let me make one different. And an I right there, Ivri. This word right here means to cross over. Okay. And that's what our father did. He crossed over from Mesopotamia and he went over to a different land. He walked into another land. That's why Yah told him, go and cross over. So that's why he's recognized as the Ivri, because he's the one who crossed over. So he's the one who passed by the crossover. And that's what you are. You and I are crossing over from one mindset to the next. So in order for a person to say that they're Ivri, they're just one who's crossed over. If you want to say you're Hebrew, you're really Ivri, okay? And if you want to say Ivrit, that means you're like, this is what I am. I'm Ivrit, okay? Ivrit. I'm an Ivri. Ivri is a person. Ivrit is like a national existence. This is what I am, okay? So our family comes from this line, and this line right here is the line is blessed. And I'm going to show that to you, okay? This guy right here, he's cursed. So all the people on the earth believe, because you and I share in a color of black skin, because these are the black people, people of the sun, that anyone who has black skin is cursed. That's where they get it from, okay? Anyone who's black is cursed. This is the understanding that the Europeans have been telling people for years and years and years. And that's why all black people across this planet, if you look in any culture, whether it's in Europe or if it's in Africa, or even if it's in the Middle East, they are being treated really, really bad because of the color of their skin. So black means wrong, and it means evil. And if you look at black in the definition, that's what it means. It means evil, can't be trusted, dishonest, all those different types of things. So, but the family that you and I are recognized with is Shem, okay? So we'll prove it. Here it is. Stop the share. Right here. Okay. Let me go right here. All right. I'm gonna read it here. Okay, I got some time. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Let's read this, what happened. Okay, so we know, again, let's begin and follow the rules of grammar and follow the rules of the Torah scroll. Even though this is not a literal Torah scroll, this is an electronic rendition of the scroll. Okay, they put these marks here to let you know, if it wasn't a Torah scroll, this would be the end of this teaching. That's the end of that teaching. And now we're going to begin a new one right here. Okay. And it says, and were and existed they, the sons of Noah, who went out from the ark, which is Shem, and Wakam and Wayafeth, and Wakam was the father of Canaan. Okay, that's his father. And these three were the sons of Noah. So we know that. I've already told you that. I've showed you this, the genealogy of them. Now so we started at the proper reading because they want to let us know who these people are. So, and then he said these three were the one sons who were, and from these was populated. Okay, the earth was populated through these in particular children. Okay, these three sons populated. Okay, this word for population right here, we would automatically think, oh, okay, well, they just, had sexual intercourse with their wives and they had children. Yeah, but this word here means to scatter. It means to be smashed. Okay, be smashed. Okay, scattered, because through them the whole earth is populated. Through the smashing of them and through the dispersion of them, the whole earth is populated. So we're in chapter number 9. So you're already telling us how the earth was going to be populated and be scattered through them. So they're the progenitors. And Yah gave, in the beginning of this chapter, he gave the covenant, which he says, if you guys do this, you do this, you do that, which you can read on your own. It tells you, like, if don't, well, it's 20. Well, the Holy One of Israel wants me to share it, so I'm going to share it. We'll quickly go over it because they're what they call the commands that he gave to them. So Yahweh blessed Noah and the sons, and he said to them, be fruitful and multiply from right to left, okay, and fill the earth. That's your job, umule. And to fear and the dread of you shall be on every beast on the earth and every bird on the air and all that moves upon the earth. And upon all the fish of the sea into your hand they are given, every moving thing in it lives shall be for food, just as green herbs that I have given you in all things. So now he's telling them that, you can eat fish now, and you can eat that which is on the herbs. And he says, but all the flesh, listen to this, verse number 4. But all the life of the flesh of the blood you shall not eat. Oh, this is a command. So you can see that someone asked you, is this part of the Torah? Yes, it is, because you cannot eat the blood. That's a law. It's in the Torah. That was given to Israel as well. You see? Because the blood of your lives I will require at the hand. So if you killed someone or you killed an animal, Yah says, for every animal that you kill, I'm going to take your life. That's what he says. Surely the blood of your lives I will require from the hand of every beast. I will require from the hand of a man, and from the hand of every man's brother. I will require the life of a man. So what he's saying in context is, if I kill someone, Yah says, I'm going to require your life by the hand of a man. For every time you kill someone, that's why you call the avenger of blood. So you see, the avenger of blood doesn't begin in Leviticus or Exodus. It begins right here in Genesis. You see the eating of blood is prohibited right here in Genesis chapter number 9. You see, if you killed an animal, God says, I'm going to require the blood of your hand, at your blood of everyone you kill. So this is how he maintains the order that's going on. So we should understand that for every animal that was killed, every human being has to be killed, because it's still a nafsho. So a lot of times we don't get, when we eating animals and stuff like that, we're thinking, okay, well, they're just given to us. We can eat whatever we want to eat, not a problem. Yah's saying that the blood, what's in the blood is life, and what the life consists of is, it's what? It's nefesh. It's nafsho. Okay, that's life. That's called the nefesh. Your nefesh is your life. That's your life. That's the breath of you. So and which is found in the breath of you, and the oxygen of you is found in your blood. So every time you kill something, you're taking life. And for every life that you take, what life will be taken. That's just the way, that's the order. Is human beings from their bloodline, okay, they have life in their blood, and so does an animal. So Yah is saying, if you kill an animal, I'm going to require your life. You kill a man, I'm going to require your life. Life for life. So you can see it right here. He says required. I want to seek it. I want to seek it from you. And then he says, whoever sheds the blood of a man, in verse 6, by a man, his blood shall be shed. For why? Why should he shed the blood? Or why would that happen? He says, because he's in the image of Elohim, that he made him. Man. And what does he do? What's the image of man? Male and a female. That's the image. Don't you ever forget it. It ain't him. It ain't just this guy. It's us. That's the image. Do you understand that? So, this idea that, the women are second class and they're not part of the program, completely foolish. That's the image. The image, the balsamo, is the man and the woman together. Okay. So if you do anything to my image, you shed their blood that's in them, that gives them the life that I gave them because I breathed into them, I'm going to require that because I'm the one who made them. That's what I said, because I'm the king of the universe. Okay. I'm sharing these with you to let you know that the laws that Yah has had for us are not just what you see in the teaching of Moshe. It's always been around. And as far as you, be fruitful and multiply, and he said, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it, which, okay, we got the Rav again, right? So the multiplication. And then he says, and he spoke, Yahweh, or Elohim, he spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying what? Wayani. Behold, I will what? I'm going to establish my covenant, not with Noah. Listen to me, because we've been told it's just the Noah covenant. No, the covenant, he spoke to Noah and his sons. See, not just Noah. He spoke to his sons too, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. He says, I will establish the covenant, my covenant with you. Here with you is not singular, it's plural. Right here, second person masculine plural, with you guys, and with you and your descendants. So if you came from any of these families, okay, which you did, because you're human, you're mankind, after you, that covenant is made with you. So Yah has made a covenant with all humanity. And the covenant he's made with them was that I will what? Let's see, are there exceptions to this law? War, self-defense? Well, no, because the thing is, Yah sometimes, he says, if you go to war, he still requires it. Life for life. Life for life. There's no exceptions, because it's a matter of how it's being done. Now, for example, there's Yah will, we see in instances it says where if you ended up killing someone or someone got killed, is because Yah sent him to go get killed. There's men that Yah will kill, and did he require their life? I don't want to answer that and say yes, because the fact of the matter is he sent them. It doesn't mean that he's not going to require them. He has a perfect system. So even if you kill, here's the answer. When Yah killed the firstborn of Egypt, because that's a great question, Sister Pam. When Yah killed the firstborn of Egypt, what does he require? Who did he do that for? Who did he kill the firstborn of Egypt for? For who? For the firstborn of Israel, right? So, and then every firstborn is born after that. What life does he take? Does he take Israel's life? No, he takes the life of an animal. You see? So he doesn't, like, if your son is born, he says, okay, we'll bring me a lamb in place of your son for the firstborn. So the idea that he took a life requires a life. So he doesn't break that. He'll never break that. A life for a life. You see? So for example, my firstborn, did I have to give up my firstborn? He says, no, just give me a firstborn animal. You got to give me a firstborn animal. I want the firstborn life, but I'll take the substitute. I'll take the animal. That's what I asked you to take. That's how your son is redeemed. He's redeemed through what? Through the blood of an animal. And verse number 10, and with every creature that's living with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, all that come out of the ark, and every beast of the earth. Thus, in verse 11, I will establish my covenant with you, and never shall be cut off all the flesh again by the waters of the flood. Never, meaning well, low, never. That means absolutely never. Will there ever exist a flood again to destroy the Washaketh, the Haaretz, the earth? And Elohim said, this is the sign of the covenant which I will make between me and you and every creature that is living, that is with you from generations perpetual, meaning forever. My rainbow I will set in a cloud, and it shall be a sign for the covenant between me and the earth. And it shall bring, and when I bring a cloud over the earth, that shall be seen the rainbow in the cloud, and I will remember. Okay, I will remember the covenant in which I made between me and every creature, me and you, and every creature living on all the flesh will never again shall become the waters of flood to destroy all the flesh. I will never do that again. So verse number 16, and shall exist this rainbow in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the covenant, an everlasting covenant between Elohim and every creature living and of all flesh that is upon the earth. 17, and Yahweh's Elohim said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I've established between me and all the flesh that is on the earth. And that's the end of that teaching. Then we got to verse number 18, which says that, hey, and here were the sons of Noah who went out of the ark, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Ham was the father of Canaan, and these three were the sons of Noah, and from these three populated and scattered and filled the earth. And began Noah, verse number 20, a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He was the first farmer. Noah is the first farmer. If you look in the translation in English, it said he was a farmer, but the ha'adamah is he planted. So he's the first one who planted a vineyard on the face of the earth. And he drank of the wine, and he became drunk, and he uncovered within his tent. Okay. So he got uncovered. Okay. And here's the thing. Remember, we started off our lesson talking about the ways that actions are being done. A hithpael. It wasn't that he was uncovered. He uncovered himself. That's a hithpael. It's reflexive. So he did this action on himself. Okay. It's reflexive. He did the action. No one did this to him. He did it himself within his tent. Okay. And Wayar, and saw him come, his father, the father of Canaan, at the nakedness, the Arwa, okay, or Erwa. That's how you pronounce it, Erwa. Erwa means the nakedness of his father. And he told his two brothers. He told his two brothers outside, the Bakuts, okay? Verse 23, and they took Shem. Now here's the thing. Shem and he, because it says, but they're not telling you it's a third person masculine singular, okay? It's a third, not both of these people. It's not saying that. If you know the text, it says, wa yikak. This wa here is and. The jod here means he. And this root right here is took. And the he is the subject of the verb, which is shame. Shame is the one. He's the third person masculine singular. He's the one who took something. And then he called his brother Wayafeth. And then they took this garment and then they laid it, because that ooh right there means they laid it upon what? And this is very important to understand that it wasn't just both of them who decided to do this. It was Shem who decided to do this. And he's the one who did it. And they put it on their shoulders of Shechem. And the two of them, and they walked backwards. Wayaleku, and they went backwards, and they covered, both of them, the nakedness of who? Who did they cover the nakedness of?
Noah.
Of their Aviham, and their faces went backwards. And because why? They went backwards because of the, oh, geez. They're messed up. Where did it go? Oh, okay, because of the nakedness of their fathers. And so they went backwards. Okay. And because of the nakedness of their father, not that they see. Okay. So the thing that I want to take out of this right quick is that it was Shem is the one who did this. He's the one who came up with the idea to go and let's cover the father's nakedness, because it says, and he, right here, he took, not but took, he took. And the he here is shame. Shame took the what? The covering. So he's covering the nakedness, because nakedness brings what? Shame. You see that? Let me see again. It's interesting. His name is pronounced shame, and he's the one who took and covered his father's nakedness, which is a shame, because it's a shame to look at your father's nakedness. So that's what he did. And look what he says. Verse 24 says, and he awoke, he became awoke, Noah, from his wine, and he knew. He knew. How did he know? He knew that which was done to him, that his son, Cam, the younger, did to him. He knew what Cam did to him, the younger, okay? And he said, and Wayomer Arur, meaning cursed be Canaan, Da'wid. Okay, he's going to be a servant of servants to his brother. That's what's going to happen to all these people, these outside people. And Canaan is, remember, the father of the nations that Yah says you need to go in and destroy. Okay, that's why I'm going to give you the land of Canaan, because they're cursed. Okay, but he's going to be a servant, a slave of slaves. And that's why they say black people should be slaves, because they think that all black people are from Canaan, right? And then he says, and he shall exist to his brothers. That's what he shall exist to all the nations that I showed you. So that's why they think it's okay to enslave black people, because they use this scripture that says he's going to be a slave of slaves to his brother forever. And he said, and this is what Noah said after he cursed him. So you can see how when Yah came, he cursed what? He cursed the what? The serpent. And he told him what he was going to be and do. And now he's turned around, and Noah is cursing Canaan. Why didn't he curse Cam? Why did he curse his son? That's interesting. We're going to get that answer. And then he said, Wayomer Baruch, blessed be Yahweh Elohim, the Elohim of shame. Blessed be the Elohim of shame. So he blessed, so he curses Cam, but then he blesses, he Baruch, he blessed shame, but he blessed Yahweh. He blessed shame in the name of Yahweh, you see? And then he says that may Canaan be his servant unto him. Now they got their him to be a servant unto him, meaning individual. But if you can notice, anybody who has some eyes can tell me that it says him, but is that true? Is that him? Based on what we have underneath here, is that true? Is that a singular? Because it said him, so it means shame. So that means single, this individual person. Is that true? Yes or no? No, it's not true, because this is a preposition, and that means two or four. That's what the element means, four or two. And the next part of this is mo, and that mo right there is called a third person masculine plural. P right there for plural. So when he's talking about shame, he's talking about the whole entire nation that comes out of him, meaning all of his sons. And out of that, and out of there, listen to this, out of these nations of shame, there's one family that Yah says that is going to be the family. And who's that family? Oh, that's the family of Abraham. And what is that for Abraham? He has a family called, and he has some sons, but out of his sons, you got Abraham, and then who does Abraham have? He had two sons. Who's his sons? Oh, that's Ishmael. Is that the one that had the blessing? Yah said no. Who is it? Oh, it's Yitzchak. And then Yitzchak had two sons, Esau and Jacob. So who is it? Is it Esau or is it Jacob? Who is it? Out of these two sons, who did he choose? Yaakov. Who? Who is it? Who got blessed? Oh, that's right. So you don't choose the firstborn here. You don't choose the firstborn here. So the blessing is going from Abraham to Yitzchak to Yaakov, and then from Yaakov to the 12 sons, which happens to be the Shemitic people. You got that? All the different tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel. Got it? So that's who's really going to be the what? The blessed. You see? That's what it is. So this blessing has been going down from generation to generation to generation. And it all started with an act of obedience, an act of purification, an act. And I'm going to show you the act so you could be very clear on why he got whatchamacallit, why he got the blessing. Let me show you the significance. It wasn't just because he had covered his father's nakedness. It was deeper than that. The deepness here is this: unlawful sexual relations. Because what we're talking about is what they would call, I don't want to do English because English is not a good translation. We got to go to what it is. It's called the nakedness. The nakedness. I want you to keep that in mind. So, why do better Yahweh the Elohim Moshe, and spoke Yahweh to Moshe, saying, and guess who he's going to tell him? He's going to tell him everything that has to do with unlawful sexual relations. Okay, and this is what he says. He says, verse 2, speak to the sons of Israel and say to them, Ani Yahweh Elohim, I'm your Elohim. Okay? Ka'amase, according to the doings of the land of Egypt, which you, plural, were living in, not shall you do. I don't want you to do this. You can't live the way that you live when you're in Egypt. Okay? You shall not do according to the doings, to their doings, okay, of the land of Canaan. So now we're seeing Canaan mentioned again. You can't do what they do because we're talking about sexual behavior. It's all sexual because guess what these people like to do? It's going to be gross when you're about to hear it. This is what they do. Where I'm bringing you, don't be like them because I'm about to bring you into their land. And you, when you get there, you shall not do what they do in all their kukothai, okay, kukothehim, okay. These are your ordinances. So these are ordinances that are done, and they tell you their laws and statutes that have to do with sex. So this is the way that they get down, because Yah says don't follow their uva kukothahim. So it ain't just arbitrary stuff. This is stuff that they set in stone. This is set and engraved in stone. Their laws, okay, is engraved. So he's about to tell you what everything that they were doing. He said, you shall not do these things the way that they live, the way that they walk. Because this is the way that they walk. They have literal laws for sex. Okay. So let's read about the things that they do for the sex. Okay. It's not a popular subject to talk about, but it's good. It's awesome because it's going to tell us some things. It says, I'm going to try not to write too much. It says that do not walk after, he says, do not walk what they do. Okay. My judgments you shall observe, meaning you shall do, and my ordinances. So now we see there's a difference between their ordinances and my ordinances. There's still the kukothai, and these are uva kukothehim. Okay, that's theirs, and this is mine. So again, you see, we have to make a decision. Do we want to tishmaru? Do you want to guard what I said, or do you want to do what they tell you to do? You shall not do what they're doing, because I have rules. Okay, and let me, I hate this thing keep popping up. I have ordinances that have to do with sex. I want to tell you how I feel about sex. And when I tell you about sex, I want you to learn how to guard what I told you about sexual behavior, because that's part of your humanity. Okay. So I need you to walk in the way that I told you to walk in those kukothai, because it's all about walking in them. Okay. That's why, you hear the Jews call it halakha, because they're talking about the way that you live your life. To walk in a certain way is to live a certain way. And so he says, I am Yahweh. And this is the reason why you should do this, is because I'm telling you to do these things, because I'm your power. I'm your Elohim. If you do what I'm telling you, then you'll live by what I said. You shall therefore keep the statutes and my judgments, in which if you do this, a man, meaning both, you know what a Adam is. I don't have to keep saying it's a male and female. You shall live. You get to live if you do this. You don't do what I'm saying, I'm going to put you to death. The wakai is to life. That's life. Baham. And kai and life has to do with your stomach. Okay. So there's certain ways I'm going to deal with you. Either I'm going to put it into your life where you won't have to worry about putting nothing in your stomach anymore because I'm about to take your life, or I'll kill you in a certain way by not giving you any food so you won't have any life. Okay. I'm Yahweh. Just remember that I'm the master of the universe. Why does this thing keep popping up? I'm the master of the universe. So that's the reason I'm asking, or the reason I'm saying. Okay, now here we go. I'm gonna read a little fast here, okay? I'm gonna read in English, and we're on verse number 6. Ish el kal sha'er, okay? Meaning anyone, any man, because the ish is a man, okay? Any man, sha'ar. I told you sha'ar means remnant. A remnant of what? A remnant of a spirit. Someone who's close to you, because that's what's used when Yah created the female. He made a sha'ar. He used what was left of her. He says anybody who's of near of a sha'ar, meaning of your spirit, you shall not approach. Okay, and even your basaro, even of your flesh, you can't approach to them. You shall not draw near to them to uncover their nakedness. Okay, remember we just read. It says that Noah had Arwe or Arwa. He had nakedness. Okay, so I don't want you to have any nakedness. I don't want you to draw near to anybody to take their clothes off. Okay, so that's what this is drawing near to take their clothes off, because that's what you're doing. When he talks about uncover, he's talking about taking your clothes off. What book and chapter are you in, please? Oh, I am in chapter. I'm sorry for delay on the teaching or answering this question. Is chapter number 18 of the book of Leviticus. Chapter number 18 has to do with sexual regulations. Okay, so you are not to uncover, meaning take anybody's clothes off. Why? Because I know Ani or Yahweh. Now you see the stuma. Does it mean the teaching's over? No. It means I need you to pause and I need you to think about what I just said. No family members, because I just told you that these people that live here, this is what they do. They like to have sex with people who are their family members. Okay? They like to take clothes off. And who are the people? Oh, Mitzrayim and Canaan. Oh, so these are the sons of Ham. Oh, yeah. You just left Egypt out of their land. And you're going into a land where they got the same people there from Ham. So this is a trait that's part of these people. This is part of the people. This is part of their bloodline because their father did something, which you're going to find out. So again, verse number 7 says, Erwa. Erwa? Yes, nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother. Not shall you uncover. Oh, really? So you can't do that because your mother, she not shall you uncover her nakedness. So you can't take off your father's robe and you can't take off your mother's robe. Okay. And why would you take somebody's robe off? Think about it. We're adults. Why would you take somebody's robe off?
To see their nakedness?
Oh, you think it's just to see?
To indulge in some kind of sexual perversion.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And only time you take your clothes off and reveal your nakedness is for sexual purposes. It ain't just a look. It's walking into a tent and disrobing someone for the purpose of sex. That's why he keeps saying, don't uncover them. You're not just uncovering to say, just, I don't want to see your body. No, uncovering that so you can get to the sexual act. That's what he's talking about. When Kam went in Remember, Yah says that these people did from both ends. He's from Mitzrayim, which we call Egypt. And then he's also saying when you get to the land of Canaan, this is part of this is who they are. These people have sex with their family members. These people have laws that allow them to have sex with animals. These people have sex with whoever they want to have sex with. So what Ham did is he revealed the nakedness of his father. So listen what he says, the nakedness, the arwa, because this whole chapter is about nakedness and uncovering. Verse 8 says, in the arwa, the esheta of the nakedness of your father, not shall lo, that you shall not to gale, don't uncover, because that is the nakedness of your father. Who? So verse number 8 tells you what he did. This is exactly what Ham did. He did exactly this. He went in and he took off his father's wife's thing, and he was sexual with her. He was sexual with his own mother, and that's where you get that term, you MFer. You understand? That's where it comes from, because that's what he did. That's why he's cursed. And how long is he cursed? Do you see? He's cursed forever. Oh, you don't believe me? You better go read Isaiah chapter number 43. And you need to read all the 40 series. You'll find out that those people are still cursed. But listen what Yah says. Ka'anan, he says, I need you to go in and go exterminate every last one of them. Wipe them off the face of the earth. That's what Israel's supposed to have done, but they didn't do that, did they? Bad news, people. Do you know Israel decided to do the things that are written right here not to do? This is what Yah gave them a Torah for, so they couldn't do it and they wouldn't do it. You understand? Yah gives us the laws and the statutes and the commandments as a warning to tell us what not to do. And if you never read these things, then you'll never find out what it means, that this is what he's trying to prevent. What Yah is trying to prevent Israel from doing is getting caught up in this type of lifestyle. Because if you think about it, and I'm gonna go in English so we can move quicker, right quick. If you do what Yah says, then you'll have life. Life means you get to live. That's what it means. You'll live accordingly. If you observe and do the things in my judgments and laws, my commandments, any person who does this, he'll live. You'll have life. If you don't, he's going to kill you. You're not supposed to approach a close relative in order to have sexual relations. I'm Yahweh. You're not to have sexual relationships with your father. You're not to have sexual relationships with your mother. She is your mother. Do not have sexual relations with her. You are not to have sexual relations with your father's wife. That is your father's prerogative. That's your father's nakedness. Okay. Like we saw in Hebrew. You are not to have sexual relationships with your sister. You're not to have sexual relationship, the daughter of your father, the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere. Any contact. Do not have sexual relationships with them. Why? Because the people of Egypt were doing this, and the people of Canaan specialize in this. Verse 10, you're not to have sexual relationships with your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. Why? Because that's your daughter, that's your son's daughters. Do not have sexual relationship with them, because their sexual disgrace will be your own. You're not to have sexual relationship with your father's daughter's wife. Your wife's daughter, your father's wife's daughter, born to your father, because your father may have a second wife, and you figure, well, that's not my mama. Well, that's your sister. She's born to your father because she's your sister. You do not have sexual relationships with her. You are not to have sexual relationship with your father's sister, because she's your father's close relative. You are not to have sexual relationship with your mother's sister, because she's your mother's close relative. You're not to disgrace your father's brother by having sex with your sexual relationships with his wife. She's your aunt. No sexual relationship with your daughter-in-law, because she's your son's wife. Do not have sexual relationship with her. You're not to have a sexual relationship with your brother's wife, because that's your brother's prerogative. That's his nakedness. You're not to have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter. You're not to have sexual relationship with her son's daughter or daughter's daughter. They're close relatives of hers. It would be shameful. You're not to take a woman to be a rival with her sister and have sexual relationship with her while her sister is still alive. You're not to approach a woman in order to have sexual relationship with her when she's unclean from her time of nida, menstrual cycle. You're not to go to bed with your neighbor's wife and thus become unclean with her. You're not to let any of your children be sanctified to Moloch, therefore profaning the name of Yahweh. I am Yahweh. You're not to go to bed with a man as with a woman. It's an abomination. You're not to have sexual relationship with any kind of animal, because thus it will be unclean with it. Nor is any woman to present herself to an animal and have sexual relationship with it. It is perversion. You do not make yourselves unclean by these things, because all the nations that I'm expelling ahead of you are defiled with them. And those nations are called the sons and the descendants from Canaan. The land has become unclean, and this is why I'm punishing it. The land itself will vomit out its inhabitants, but you are to keep my laws and rulings and not to engage in any of these disgusting practices. Neither the citizen nor the foreigner living with you. For the people of the land have committed all these abominations, and the land is now defiled. If you make the land unclean, it will vomit you out too, just as it is vomiting out the nation that was there before you. For those who engage in any of these disgusting practices, whoever they may be, will be cut off from their people. So keep my charge. Do not follow any of these abominable customs that others before you have followed, and thus defile yourselves by doing them. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. So hopefully today we were able to get some understanding and we'll be able to learn something. Okay. What Yah is trying to tell us is this: I've destroyed the world because of the behaviors that it does. There's uncleanness in the land that we live in right now. These people are having sex with their family members. These people are sleeping with their father's wives and girlfriends and so forth and so on. Yah destroyed the world because of its violence, which we see often right now on a regular basis. He destroyed the world because of its oppressive behavior. He destroyed the world because of its inability to not eat blood, okay? Because that's what they were doing, okay? So every time he tells us something not to do, it's because it's something that's being done. That's what he's saying. Just like he just told them in 18, don't do these things because this is what they do. So you and I don't know what's going on unless Yah tells us. And if we're listening to him, he says you get to live, just like Noah did. See, Noah made a choice to walk after the things of Yah. He decided to not be like everyone else. And guess what? It was lonely. It was just him, his family, and their wives, his sons and his wives, and that's it. Did you hear anything about any friends? Hear one word, did you? Hear anybody else that came along and jumped in the ark? No. These are the people who regenerated the earth and populated the earth. So last week or earlier this week, there was a question to say, when Yah created humanity, was there more people on the earth? And the answer to that is no. And that's not just because of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. It's simply because when Yah made Adam and Kuah, he called her the mother of all living. All living. That's her name. She's the mother of all living. So everything came through her. No one else living came through her. So there's no one else that existed. See? So there was no other humans. There were only her and him. They're the ones who populated the earth because he told them to be fruitful and multiply, and that's exactly what they did. Okay. So we're in the last phase of, you got to know that Yah is going to judge this world. You got to know that in order to do a reset, to change things and bring things back the way they need to be, the only way that Yah can get rid of this is by destroying them. That's like you would do at any field or any garden or any plant. If it's not bringing forth what you wanted to bring, then you just destroy it. You uproot it or destroy it and you plant something else. Or you keep that which you have a residue of or remnant or a piece of, like he says, I'm going to keep a remnant. I'm going to destroy parts. A great majority of Israel will be killed. Okay. A lot of people in my family are going to die, but they're going to die anyway, but they're going to be destroyed. Sodom and Gomorrah all day long. The flood all day long. When you have sin Israel in, that's what happens. So that's a choice that they have to make. They have to hit Pael. They have to be reflexive. You have to bring this upon yourself. If you don't have a desire to do even one thing that Yah asks you to do, and you're rebelling against the king, you can run a game now. You can play like you're with him now. You can make everybody believe that you're truly with him, but he knows who you are. And he knows what you're doing. He knows whether or not you're wholehearted, just like he knew that Noah was wholehearted towards him. And he knows if we are too. So there won't be any games. Okay. But I just want to let you know that we're in that time where judgment is about to come upon this earth. Because the only way it can be reset is by Yah getting involved. Because if you leave it, if you be honest and you left it up to man to change things, and you left it up to the United States of America, or you left it up to China, or you left it up to the Europeans, and it's in their hands now. What have they done? What have they done?
Terrible.
They've done it. So what kind of job have they done? Have they been fair and have they been just? Have they thought about the poor and the needy? No, because people are crying out right now. So how many cries need to go out? Well, it's going to be a time when there's enough, and Yah says enough is enough. And that's why he's going to take action. So the teaching today for us is to understand that the creator of the heavens and the earth is asking you and I to make a decision for ourselves, that you and I have to do this ourselves. We can't expect anyone else to do it for us. I'm just a teacher. I'm here to kind of guide you along the way, give you some understanding about words and definitions. And then hopefully you can take that and you can run with it and say, okay, I want to do a little bit more research. But I would plead with you today, because that's what Rav is, in a sense, Riv. Let me contend with you in a very powerful way to tell you, I beg you and I beseech you to be honest with yourself. Be honest and ask yourself, are you wholehearted? Because if you're not wholehearted and you're playing a game like you are, he's going to kill you. That's what it is. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Because the only people that are going to deserve to live are the ones who have a willingness to do what Yah says. You can see it all through the Torah. Okay? All through the Torah. People made mistakes, but if it was ever intentional, there was no remedy for an intentional sin. That's what everyone don't understand. We've been taught that Yah is merciful and compassionate. He's merciful and compassionate to those who do what he says. He knows that we're going to make mistakes, but our responsibility and our duty as a human being is to follow what he says. And if someone's not willing to follow what he says, whether a man, a woman, a child, a girl, a boy, you're gone. He already told you that. If you're a child or a young man and you just don't want to do what you're told, I'm cutting you off. If you don't want to keep the Shabbat, I'm cutting you off. If you want to commit adultery, I'm cutting you off. Not because I made a mistake. If you have a desire to follow what I said and you say that you're my master and I'm the judge of you, then you should know if I'm your master, I have to rule you. And if I'm ruling you, I have contention. I'm striving to protect the family. That's what a lot of people don't understand. That's why I told you men today. And I'll say one more, and I'm going to be hard when I say this. You and you better understand this. You better increase your knowledge and your wisdom and understanding, not to lord over nobody, but to increase and protect your house. You better be able to protect your home and the people that you love. My family sometimes don't understand it. I get a bad rap. I'm too hard. I'm too firm. You're right. I am going to be firm. I am going to be tough. You don't have to like me. This is my job. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it well, because I understand the significance of this. I understand if I don't do what I'm told to do, I'm going to be put to death. I don't know about you, but I want to live. That's how, there's no other thing to it. We're a species. We're supposed to live according to the rule. And if we don't live according to, that's what a ruler does. He gives you rules and say, well, this is how you're supposed to live. So I'm pushing that. I'm pushing sanctification of the Shabbat. I'm pushing for my son and my daughters. You marry somebody that I told you not to marry, I'm not accepting them. My son's on right now. I'll tell him straight to his face in front of everybody. I'll tell you. Yah's not accepting it. Anybody who has any contention against him is going to be destroyed. So if anyone want to listen, you're gone. That's the teaching. So what do we do with that? Do you get scared? Yeah. Be scared enough to say, okay, well, let me think about it. Let me think about my life. He tells them to think about their lives in the book of Kagai. He says, think about your life. Think about what's in front of you. This is not a game, people. When Yah brings the judgment on the face of this earth, we're going to see who's serious and who's not. Maybe then people will tighten up. When those food shortages come, we're going to find out who's tight. You guys don't see it? Because I can see it. When this stuff is coming down, it's coming down the pike, okay? So there's no wiggle room here. Let's serve Yah with a whole heart and let's be honest and say, okay, I hit Pael. I'm reflexive. I'm going to do it. But that's our own decision. I'm not trying to talk you into following Yah. I'm just pleading with you. I thank you guys today for sharing your time with me. It's really a blessing to be able to take this time to do that. So I say, I have my prayer, but I'm trying to get to it, but it won't allow me to get to it. Let's see. Our outro is important because I want to leave you with a blessing, an outro blessing to let you know what it is that the Creator wants for us. What he wants for us is this. He wants us to say, Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu. Melech ha'olam, Yasar or uvorei kol shekel say shalom, to uvorei et hakol. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim. You're the King of the universe, the King of the world. He's forming the light and he's creating darkness. He's making peace and he's creating all things. Hallelujah. Blessed be the Holy One of Israel. May the Holy One of Israel be with you today. And may he encourage all of us to turn to him and to seek his face. Hallelujah. Any questions, contributions, subtractions, additions? No? Okay, well, that's okay. I say Shabbat Shalom to you guys. You have a wonderful Shabbat today. And we'll see you on next week. See you on Yom Shilishi. Yeah, I think I see you on Shilishi. Yep, I'll see you on Shilishi. That's the third day of the week. Tomorrow's the first day. The next day is the second. The next day is the third. So I'll see you 3 days from today. Okay?
Okay. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You have a good one.